Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear children. Here we are with the basics of chemistry. When we say the word chemistry, the picture which comes to our mind is atoms, molecules, symbols, equations, chemical reactions. So, we will start with the molecular chemistry. We will start from the scratch. We will discuss what an atom is. We will discuss what a molecule is. We will discuss what do we mean by an atomic number and mass number. When we talk about a molecule, we will discuss whether it is a monoatomic, diatomic and polyatomic. We will also discuss the differences between the molecule of an element and a compound. This is a basic concept where we often make a mistake. Then we will discuss the difference between a symbol and a formula. Then we will also talk about soluble and insoluble substances, miscible and immiscible substances, and then after dealing with valency, valence electrons and valence shell and how the structure of an atom determines its reactivity, and when they react, how do they form ions, and which are the different types of bonding they form in the compounds like ionic, covalent, coordinate, and then why do we classify the elements as metals and non-metals, and what is so special about inert gases and halogens. And the carbon molecule, which is a wonder molecule, we will learn why it has got a unique reactive behavior, giving rise to a branch of chemistry called organic chemistry. So all these basics we are going to deal with in the first 5 to 6 modules of our lessons. So let us start with an atom. We'll start with its definition. What is an atom? An atom is the smallest particle or smallest unit of matter that has all the characteristic property of that element, and it cannot be divided easily without releasing a huge amount of energy. It will be like a bomb. Now, an atom consists of a central nucleus. The central nucleus is surrounded by shells or orbitals. It is like the solar system. Sun being the nucleus and all other planets moving around it in different orbitals. The nucleus locates two types of particles, that is protons and neutrons, whereas the shells locate only one type of particle, that is the electrons. The charge of an electron is always equal to the charge of a proton, and the number of protons and electrons in any normal atom is equal. So the atom is said to be electrically neutral. But when an atom reacts, the electrons located in the outer shells may be lost or gained. Then it gains a negative charge or a positive charge. Such an atom which has either lost or gained an electron and is charged is called an ion. Please look through the chart. The chart shows all the three particles, neutrons, protons and electrons with their symbols, the charge they possess and the mass they have. From the table you can understand that both proton and electron have the same charge, but protons have a positive charge whereas electrons have a negative charge. And the mass of a neutron and proton are somewhat close to each other. The heavier particles, that is the neutron and proton, are located inside the nucleus, and the lighter particle, that is the electrons, are revolving around the nucleus in definite orbitals. There are two important terms related to atoms which we should learn. One is atomic number and the other one is mass number. What do we mean by atomic number? The number of protons in an atom is called its atomic number. Or you can even say the number of electrons in an atom is called the atomic number. Basically, we consider the protons because during chemical reactions, electrons can be lost or gained. And what do you mean by mass number? mass number is actually the mass of the atom. The basic mass of the atom is concentrated in the nucleus because the neutrons and protons are the heavier particles. So the mass number of an atom will be the total of neutrons and protons in an atom. That is basically the weight of the nucleus. So atomic number is the number of protons and mass number is the total of neutrons and protons in an atom. Now here you have two atoms represented, atom 1 and atom 2. You can count and write the number of electrons and protons in both. The number of neutrons may differ from atom to atom. In this particular atom number 1, the neutron is 20 and in atom number 2 it is 18. You have to calculate the mass number also. The atomic number of atom 1 is 19 and that of atom 2 is 17. And the mass number of atom 1 is 39 and atom 2 is 35. So we have learned what an atom is, which are the three types of particles in an atom, what are their charges, what are their masses, and how they are arranged in an atom. We also have learned the basics of atomic number and mass number. Moving on to molecules. What is a molecule? It's a group of atoms which are held together by chemical bonding. If a molecule contains only one atom, the atom is a loner, the atom stays alone, then that molecule is called monoatomic. If a molecule contains two atoms, then it is called diatomic, and if it contains three atoms, it is called triatomic. All the molecules containing more than three atoms are called polyatomic. These models of molecules shown on the screen are examples of monoatomic, diatomic, triatomic as well as polyatomic molecules. Whatever the number of atoms in a molecule, it may be 2, 3, 4, 5. If all the atoms are similar to each other, then that molecule is called as the molecule of an element. Similarly, a molecule may contain only two atoms, but if both the atoms are different from each other, or it may contain 3, 4, 5 atoms and there is at least two different types of atoms in that, then the molecule belongs to a compound. So, definition of an element, it's a group of similar atoms held together by chemical bonds. And the definition of a compound, it's a group of at least two different types of atoms. It can be more than two different types of atoms. It can be 3 types, 4 types held together by chemical bonds. Now, representing the molecules can be done in two ways. See, the same molecule is represented here in two different ways. Sulfuric acid, that is H2SO4, 2 hydrogen atoms, 1 sulfur atom, and 4 oxygen atoms are represented in two ways. In one model, only the atoms are shown sticking to each other. In the other models, the atoms are connected to each other by sticks, which represent the chemical bonding. So let us revise. Study the molecules which are represented above. There are 3 molecules represented here. After studying it, now let us answer the question. Let carbon be represented by C, oxygen by O, hydrogen by H, and nitrogen by N. So these are the alphabets we are going to use. If green is carbon, red is hydrogen, grey is oxygen, and purple is nitrogen, we have to state whether the given molecules are that of an element or a compound. First picture has got 2 different colors. So it is definitely made up of 2 different types of atom. So it is a compound. The second molecule again is made up of 2 different colors of green and red. That means 2 different types of atoms are there. So it is also a compound. And the third molecule is made up of the same colored particles. That means it's an element. Also state whether they are monoatomic, diatomic, triatomic or polyatomic. First molecule has 3 atoms, triatomic. Second one has got 5, polyatomic. And the third one is diatomic. Also try to arrange the symbols with their numbers to represent the molecule. So we have to use the symbols. First molecule has got hydrogen and oxygen in it. 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. So it is H2O. Second molecule has 1 carbon and 4 hydrogen. So it is CH4. And the third molecules have 2 similar atoms of nitrogen. So it is N2. So some more questions for you. The answers you will find out yourself. I'll give you an example or two. F represents fluorine and the number 9 written above the symbol represents the atomic number, and the number of electrons will be equivalent to the atomic number. Similarly, C represents carbon. 6 is written on the top, so that is its atomic number. He is given there, which is helium. 2 is given at the top, so 2 is atomic number and so is the number of electrons. Na means sodium, Si means silicon, Ca means calcium, C means carbon, N means nitrogen, and so on. So let us memorize at least a few elements today, a few diatomic elements. There is an interesting way to remember it. I bring cookies for our new home. I for iodine, B of bring for bromine, C of cookies for chlorine, F of for fluorine, R, O for oxygen, nu, N for nitrogen, and H for hydrogen of home. I bring cookies from our new home is iodine, bromine, chlorine, fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen. A few triatomic molecules: water, carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, and sulfur dioxide. A few polyatomic molecules which you have come across: ammonia, which is having 4 atoms, methane having 5 atoms, phosphorus, which is an element having 4 atoms in its molecule, sulfuric acid, again a compound with 7 atoms in it. In the next module, we will be dealing with symbols and formulae used in chemistry. Think science, stay safe.